We're back again today on Student Athlete Success with the one and only Kellie Stigas. It's great seeing you again. How are you, Kellie?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so excited
I know
to
it's
be
great to
on.
actually see you again and hear your story of field hockey here.
I know, thanks for having me.
So you grew up in Canton, Mass. Tell us about life growing up there.
I grew up in Canton. I am the youngest of two. So I have an older brother and an older sister, and they're 8 and 7 years older than I am. So grew up always kind of just shadowing my like brother and sister and all their sports. My parents like always were just dragging me to like basketball games, baseball games, everything. My sister started playing field hockey, and then obviously wanted to start playing field hockey. So Canton had a pretty, I would say, decent field hockey program, and they had like youth programs. They had a club team in our town. So field hockey, I feel like, was pretty big in Canton growing up. I was probably one of the only like elementary school kids playing because it really isn't introduced in Canton until like middle school. I feel like a lot of kids just end up playing soccer
Yeah.
growing up. So I was playing soccer growing up in Canton, and probably until like the third grade, I was just kind of getting sick of the sport. My sister stopped playing soccer when she got to high school, and she was playing field hockey at the time. So I was in third grade when I
How
started
could
playing.
how could you get sick of soccer? Come on.
I can't use my feet. Like I'm so tall, and I didn't like that you had to use the inside of your foot. I like to just kick the ball with my toe, and I just didn't like it. I don't know. I using my feet and then having to run and then kick and then use your I just couldn't do it. It was so bad. I was good. I was okay. I was decent, but I wasn't the best.
And that,
At
and that,
something.
is, that was a problem.
Yeah, it was a problem. If I'm not the best at something, I have to be the best. You know, I'm so competitive. So so I grew up also playing basketball, softball, lacrosse, golf here and there, tennis here and there. But my primary sports, like growing up, were field hockey, basketball, softball, lacrosse. But I ended up just falling in love with field hockey. I think it's more because my sister was really involved with it. So my sister started doing like club field hockey, and then she would also just like bring me to her captain's practices in high school, and I would just be there hitting around. She was babysitting me, so she had to bring me, and I would just be
Yeah.
like with the ball on the side of the field in third grade, and then I'd like, jump into a drill here and there and like try and hit the ball, and they're like, whoa, you can hit the ball just as hard as we can. And I'm like, yeah, I'm 8, that's right.
Yeah, I'm better than you already.
Yeah. Canton, I think, definitely helped me and my sister with the field hockey and developing and growing. And then just having her to look up to was, I think, why I wanted to play in college. So I was in like fourth grade when she went off to college, and she played at
Yeah.
Boston College. She's a goalie. So she would be in that, and I'd be like shooting on her because I was
So
playing
that
like
was perfect
forward.
for you.
Yeah, so it was perfect. She would like get in the pads, 8 years older, like I said. And so I saw her go to Boston College, and then obviously whatever she did, I wanted to do. So I'm at her games. I'm in like fifth grade. She's playing at BC, and I think I had that exposure to like really good field hockey really young. So I saw like, wow, this is what these players are doing, and I'm like an observer. I watch. I'm always like looking to see like what others are doing, and that's how I like pick up the sport. I like by
Yeah.
looking, by watching, observing, and that's now as a coach. When I'm teaching, it's the same. I like to teach from like doing, showing.
Mm.
Um, so
You
yeah, so
mentioned
I saw. What'd you
Yeah,
say?
you mentioned your sister like played at BC as a goalie. What role do you think she played, obviously, in your field hockey development?
My field hockey development. I think she was always like, she was just like my kind of like my second mom, role model ish, and she was hard on me. So I think she just like always played that role of like she was like a star, and I wanted to just be as good as she could be, even though we were playing different roles. Like I was
Yeah,
like, she wanted to play Division 1, like I'm gonna play Division 1 too because she is, and I'm gonna like prove to everyone else that I'm just as good and I can play Division 1.
yeah,
So
just a
like,
bit of like family competition there.
yeah, like family competition that we had. Like we might not have really had it because we're 8 years older, but there was. It was more of just showing like I'm gonna do it. If she did, I'm doing it. If she's out with her friends, I'm gonna go out with her friends and run around the backyard with her friends. So I feel like I was just always her little shadow.
Yeah.
And I think she pushed me to be a better field hockey player, probably without her even having to like use words or, like she physically didn't help me, but like her just being there and like guiding the way helped me to create my path.
Yeah. So
So like
obviously,
growing up, she played at BC. I was like, I want to play at BC.
Yeah. And then you obviously we'll move on to that later, but
Yeah.
you went down a different path. So
Yeah.
you played at Canton High School as well, actually under Northeastern alumni Fior Griffin. How was that
Yes.
experience?
So Fior played at Northeastern, and then it was also my high school coach. So people are like, oh, are you at Northeastern because of Fior? Well, definitely she helped with like helping me along through my high school years. But I think she was a tough coach to have. She was a great coach to have in high school. I learned so much from her. I feel like my high school experience compared to others, like because she had so much knowledge of the game, definitely. Like Canton was successful because of Fior and because of like the past girls that went to Canton High School. But I wouldn't say that I'm at Northeastern because of Fior. Because honestly, I feel like I knew Northeastern, but I didn't really know Northeastern when I was going through like the recruiting process.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like I knew she played Division I, and like I knew Northeastern was in Boston, and I knew that she played like Northeastern and BC always played versus each other, but I didn't really know much about the school. And Fior didn't really like push that on me as well. Like she would always be like, oh, like Northeastern, I went there, and like talk about her experience and how it impacted her, and she was an All-American at Northeastern. But when I was going through the recruiting process and having Fior, that like really wasn't clicking to me when I look back on it.
Yeah. So do you think like she helped your field hockey development though, as improving as a player?
Oh, definitely. She definitely helped like my game knowledge. I would say like things I do still today. I'm like, oh, Fior would have done like this defensive footwork drill, or she was a defender at Northeastern. So I think she developed my game in high school. I think that not a lot of high school players have like, how do I explain that? Like, so I feel like a lot of high school coaches didn't play in college, or maybe they just played high school. Maybe their mom, but not many played like Division I college field hockey. So I think I was lucky enough to have Fior have this like role model in high school as a coach that played collegiately. And like that was always my dreams, even as I entered high school. And having that, I'm like, wow, okay, she's our coach. She obviously knows a lot about field hockey. I respected her a ton. So it definitely helped develop me as a player having her.
Yeah,
100%.
so it must have worked out pretty well. You won 4 Hockomock League titles, 2 Mass South sectional championships, along with being named the Hockomock League and team MVP in your senior year. That must have been a great feeling for you, like all that hard work paying off.
Definitely. My only thing that I wanted to do while I was at high school was win a state championship. And I didn't get that because fellow teammate Katie Carlson and Alyssa Carlson and Rachel Campbell played at Watertown, and they always knocked us out of Eastern Mass finals.
Yeah.
So I never ended up doing that, and I always would give Alyssa, like the Carlson sisters and Rachel and Maddie Rockland, all the girls that played at Watertown, I used to always give them like, being like, you guys were the ones that kicked us out. But that would have been nice.
You cost me a state championship here.
Yeah, like those accolades are great, but I think if I could have won a state championship in high school, that would have been like the icing on the cake,
Yeah. You
like
also
accolades are great, but you want to win.
Yeah, I know, exactly. You want to be the best of the best.
Yeah.
So you also played for Team USA during these years at high school. How was that represent your country?
Yeah, so with the Team USA, it was kind of like a training camp. So it was called USA High Performance. We had like college training throughout the summer, and you just train with your region. So like during the summer, you train with like a bunch of BU girls, BC girls, like UNH, like everyone in the region. So they'd have like 5 different regions, 6 different regions. And then from there, they select for a tournament.
Yeah.
So that's called the USA High Performance. And it's a really competitive collegiate, I would say, summer training. So that was great to make. So you make the training site, but then to move on to the tournament, and that tournament then is selecting like the U21 team and the developmental team from there. I never got selected for those, but I think it was great to be training in the summer and working hard with other, like, you're playing against like UNC girls and Wake Forest and just the best field hockey in the country you're training with during the summer. And it's a great feeling to represent, Northeastern as well in that. And, you're with the best girls in the country as well.
Yeah. And like, obviously it shows that you were doing something right, that you've been selected for them each summer as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think too, like, you have the summer off from Northeastern, but you really don't. Like, you're training to prepare for your fall season. So if you can train with other collegiate athletes and other, Division I athletes, field hockey players during that summer to make it so you're going to be the best prepared come the fall. And that's what I always tried to do. I could have went abroad and done like a dialogue during my fall summer, but no, I wanted to play field hockey. That's like what I wanted to do. I wanted to be playing with the best, training with the best, working field hockey camps, because I love the sport so much.
Yeah.
So it was like kind of that sacrifice that I made, and to, keep training over the summer while maybe my other teammates or maybe other schools might be, at the beach.
Yeah,
Or,
that's a big part as well of it, like the mind frame of wanting to succeed. Like, that's obviously contributed to you being able to go to college as well. So you did end up at Northeastern. What other schools were you looking at?
Let's see. So I was looking, honestly, it's hard to say because other schools I was looking at Boston. It came down to Boston University and Northeastern. I am from Canton, like I said earlier, and that's 25 minutes outside of Boston. So I knew I wanted to stay local. I wanted to stay local because I wanted like my family and my parents to come to my games. I was still kind of in that immature stage when I was choosing colleges that I was like, I don't really want to go home, like far away. I want to be able to go home on the weekends if I have to. So I was looking at schools, Division I didn't really want Division II, Division III, even though my parents were like, you should maybe consider them.
Yeah.
But it came down to BU, Northeastern. I also was looking at like a lot of schools in the New England area, Division I schools. I would say almost a lot of them I was considering, but it came down to I wanted to be in the city and I wanted to be close to home.
Yeah. So what made you end up deciding Northeastern then?
Northeastern. Okay, well, I wanted a school that wanted me. So I didn't have a dream school. Growing up, I did have a dream school, BC, but other than that, I think when I started the recruiting process, I was like, that's a dream, but like, I feel like I just want to go there because my sister went there. So
yeah, you want to create your own memories and your own history.
Yeah, I was comfortable with it. I knew the campus because I was always visiting my sister, visiting her games. So I knew the campus. I knew where her locker room was. I knew where she ate at the dining hall. I think it was just familiar to me. So when I started the recruiting process, I was like, BC's a great school and I'd love to go there, but let me look at other options because that was her. Now I want something for me. So I chose Northeastern, honestly. I didn't have a dream school, so I was like, I want any school that wants me, is what I kind of went into the process. So if the school shows interest in me, I'm going to then maybe I'm going to check it out and see if I like it. So any schools that reached out to me, I 100% were like, I'm going to reach out, check out their school. It ended up being Northeastern. A few things. I loved the campus. It's like this so unique, like Northeastern is just so unique. You walk on the campus, you think you're in a city, but you're not. Like you're in Boston, but you have the green space. It's a 10-minute walk from one side to the other side. I didn't feel like I could see the Prudential from my dorm room, but then I walk out and I can like sit on the grass and hang out with friends,
Yeah.
Like you might walk over train tracks to get to like the gym or to dining hall, but you don't really feel like you're in a city if you're like in the middle of Centennial or if you're near the West Villages. Like I love that vibe of Northeastern. I also chose them because of the co-op program. So if people listening don't know what the co-op program is, it's a 5-year school where you have the opportunity to have an internship, like a 6-month internship, paid experience that you can enter your resume. So I loved that. I loved that I could get that working experience. Field hockey wise, they were, when I was looking at them, they were in the top 11, top 12 in the country. So I was like, okay, this is great. I want to have a competitive team, and I love that they were always top. They were always fighting in their conference for the top. They were at that time, they were like one of the best schools around. So I was like, this is great too. Another check. I met Cheryl Murtaugh was the coach there, and she was awesome. She showed so much interest in me. I felt wanted there, so that was great. And then I met the team, and that just like kind of just solidified every other thing. I was like, the team is close. The girls are great. Everything just fit and felt right. You know, the scholarship I got offered at Northeastern, I couldn't turn that down either. That was great. And it just met every box that I wanted, it met. I felt at home, and it is my second home now, I feel like.
Yeah, and that's an important thing as well when you're deciding like to choose a college. You have to feel as though you're going to be comfortable there and be able to be relaxed when, especially when you're playing sports, because it is a stressful environment.
Yeah.
So obviously, what would you say your honest experience was during your time at Northeastern?
Yeah, my honest experience, I would have to say, okay, I feel like people think I'm lying when I say this, but to my honest experience, I absolutely loved it. Like, if I could go back and do it 10 times over, I would. Like, you hear these stories that like people don't have good college experiences in athletics, and I'm just like, how? But I know how, because I experienced that from other teammates or other friends at other schools. But I had like the best experience of my entire life. The best 5 years of my entire life was at Northeastern, and I can like honestly say that with 100% truth. Like, sometimes people are like, really? I'm like, no, it was. Field hockey, loved it. Athletics, I loved it. Academically, socially, like I had the best time of my life at Northeastern, and I'm sad that it came to an end last year, because it truly was, I think, the best 5 years of my entire life. You know, and people are like, "No, Kelly, really?" I'm like, "No, it was."
Yeah, it's like that's the thing. Like if you found a home there as well, like you're always thinking back to it. You're like, "Oh, these were great memories." Like you meet some great people along the way as well.
Was it challenging? Did I have ups and downs? Of course. Did everything go smoothly? No, I had injuries, you know.
Yeah.
I had setbacks. I redshirted my freshman year. That was obviously difficult, but if you look back, I'm like, those were the best years of my entire life. I wouldn't change the world. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Like, maybe sometimes when I'm mad, I'll be like, oh, like, she could have went to another school. No, Northeastern all the way. I'm not even like, you're saying you want my honest opinion. That's my honest opinion. I'll give it to anybody. I'll say it to anyone's face that, like, you make the best of every situation. And I think it's the type of person that you are, you know. I think that helped me going into college, playing Division I. I saw the experience that my sister had. I knew it was going to be difficult. I knew you're going to have to put in a lot of work. You're going to be up late night, maybe studying for a test, because you were all day training. I knew what I was going into, that I think helped me prepare for it, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so obviously you mentioned earlier Sharon Murtaugh was the coach when you came in there. She was a long-time coach at Northeastern, but was eventually replaced by Shelley Morris during your time. How did that affect your development?
So I think obviously switching coaches, a head coach, can be difficult, but I think it was a smooth transition, because Shelley was already on staff prior to her getting the head coach in, what was that, 2018. So I think my development through Cheryl was great. I respected her so much. She's a great coach with so much experience, so much knowledge. So I think, you know, being recruited by her, and I had her for a solid my first 4 years, I had her as a coach, as my head coach. So I really only had one more season left as a new head coach. And, you know, going in, like, Shelley obviously was hired. So it was nice. It was like fluid, a great transition. She was already on staff as the associate head 3 years prior. Was that 3 years prior? So I knew her. It wasn't like I was just blindly coming into my senior year, not just meeting a coach and then starting the season. So we already knew Shelley, and that was great. I would say Cheryl probably is one of the reasons why I'm going into coaching right now, because I can think back into, I was sitting in her office one day. I don't know if this is answering your question, but I was sitting in her office one day.
It's all right. Just tell your story, Kellie.
Yeah,
That's the main thing.
sorry. I kind of talk a lot, but so I was sitting in her office one day. I think I just was at TJX with one of my co-ops, and I was in her office, and I think we were talking about the future. She probably doesn't remember this, but I have the greatest memory in the world. And she was saying, like, Kellie, I could see you as a coach one day. And I was like, really? Like, maybe a high school coach or maybe like a club coach, but like, I don't know, like, maybe. She's like, no, like, I could really see you making this a career. And I was like, okay. I was just captain my junior year, and I think we were having this conversation of like the way I was leading and the way I like was holding myself like with my image for the team. Like, she was like, I could see you like doing the same way as a coach, like kind of being that role model as a coach.
Yeah.
She probably honestly doesn't remember it. I haven't even brought it up to her, but probably should. So I had this conversation with me, and in the back of my mind, that's stuck in my head. So I would say she's a big reason that I've gone into coaching, because I think from that day on, I always kept that in the back of my head that, okay, Cheryl could see me as a college coach, you know?
Yeah.
But moving on to what you were saying, how she helped me with my development as a player. So she was awesome coach for me, because I needed someone that was going to be direct with me and like, you know, give me positivity, but also like tell me the things I need to work on. And, you know, and she definitely helped me. She was hard on me and made me a better player, you know? She made me that better player each and every day. And she was a coach I respected so much. So I would go out there, and I knew she had so much knowledge that every day at practice, like I was kind of just like a sponge. I was just taking everything in that I knew. She had like, what, 30 something years of coaching. Like, she knew her stuff, and I was just like a little sponge absorbing everything she was teaching us, or on the field, off the field, chalk talks, like everything. I just feel like she helped me with my development to make me that better player. She was hard on me, like I said, but she saw so much potential in me that I didn't even see. And she could see that, and she was just, you know, pushing me to be that better player every single day. So I'm thankful for her, and I'm thankful for her recruiting me and giving me the opportunity at Northeastern, because I think she believed in me, and other coaches didn't really believe in me in that recruiting process.
Yeah. So obviously during your time at Northeastern as well, you played with some great girls in that team from all over the world. Who were the ones that stood out to you, like during that time? Like when you first came in and you were like, wow, like they're a good player here, like they could.
Yeah. I would say like my freshman year, you always look up to the seniors of the team. So like my freshman year, I always looked up to Katie Carlson. I knew growing up and playing club at Cape, we played Cape Ann together. So I always looked up to her. I always was looking up she was a leader on the team. So I was like, oh, she's a great leader. The Dunn twins, I always looked up to. Kellie and Marissa, they're great. They're so welcoming. I think I looked up to them in that aspect of like leading.
Yeah.
So they were the ones being inclusive. So that's how I wanted to lead, like that. Katie was leading, being like, telling us what to do, you know, like being positive on the field, you know, showing us on the field. She was that on-field captain. So I looked up to her in that way. And Caroline Judge, she was quiet. She got her stuff done. She came every day, worked 100%. And like, I looked up to her. But I'm trying to like that one player that like I looked up to. That's hard. Okay. So that was my freshman year who I looked up to. I looked up to like all the seniors. Kara too. Kara and Casey. They were quiet on the bench, but they always were like reaching out, making sure like all of us freshmen were taken care of. So that's like my freshman year, I'd say. But other than that, I would say Jess Unger. Like Jess, the type of player. Yeah, the type of player that Jess was. She was like a demanding player, meaning she wanted so much from her teammates, and like she made you so much better. Like she'd be like, Kellie, no, I want the ball here. So I'd be like, okay, next time, like that ball's gonna go to there.
And when Jess says she wants the ball, you give her the ball.
Yeah, and you give her that ball, and she made her teammates. She was so hard on us, but she made us so much better. Like, yeah, she demanded a lot, and she would be like, harder ball, and I'd give her that harder ball. You know, you didn't want to upset Jess. So I loved playing with Jess as well, and I would say she definitely was a player that I looked up to. Even though we had like, I feel like so many players from other countries bring a different style of like game and different knowledge. Like we had Emmy, who was here for a few years. Her shot was like ridiculous, and she was from Europe. like, I always was like, oh my, she can hit the ball so well. Like, I'd look up to her. And then there's like Becky, who I'm like, Becky's like hilarious. Like, I feel like each teammate I can look back on and like pick out one thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go in all of them. But I would just say I feel like my freshman year is like when you're looking up the most, because you're a freshman, you're timid, you're going to pay attention to like the seniors who are, you know.
Yeah, setting the example for you there.
Setting the example. Yeah, exactly. And like, they helped me become the leader that I was every senior there my freshman year, because I picked each thing from all the seniors that year. I picked out their best quality, and I made like that best quality become me.
Yeah. So, like, obviously, you had some good times with that with the group of girls as well. You mentioned how funny Becky was. Like, she was on a different planet some days.
Yeah.
But what would you say? Would you say there was a joker in your team, or like what kind of things did you get up to?
A joke. Like a joke about me?
No, like was there a joker in the team that used to like be up to stuff like?
I was the joker. I was
what kind of stuff did you get up to like that people might not know about on your teammates?
Okay, so I feel like people think I'm so quiet. Like, well, I don't know. Like a coach's probably standpoint, like Cheryl probably thought I was the quietest person ever, because I showed up and I did my job and I left, and I was always serious when it came field hockey. But like in the locker room, I was like the one dancing, you know, on the benches. I was the one acting like a fool. Like, dude, like I feel like I was just like the fool one. I'm trying to think who else was like along with me. Like Jess too, Jess and Becky, June. But like I feel like I was, I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying that, but I'm definitely a joker. I'm the one getting everyone up and going. But then I walk outside the locker room and I'm all serious.
I witnessed that on some nights out as well, and there was no quiet Kelly on the nights out.
Yeah, so that's right.
Being in Boston as well, like as an athletics department, we all had a great relationship with each other. Like everyone hanging about together, like going out. What was some memorable nights that you can remember? Like
memorable nights. Ooh.
What the ones that you can remember anyway?
Yeah, remember. Okay, yeah. Well, like you said, I think like baseball is having people over. Like everyone's gonna be at baseball. Like soccer is gonna be there, basketball, hockey. Like everyone did hang out together. My most memorable nights though were like my freshman year, like punters. Like those were the best. Like you would be at like each team would probably have their own pregame and they'd do something together, and then the nights we just like end up late, like 11:30, strolling into punters, and like we're there like
sneaking in the back door.
Sneaking in the back door, or like walking in and showing like just my student ID, you know, or just sneaking in the back door. Punters my freshman year and sophomore year I think were the best, and then they kind of it died down a little. But the best memories too were like when, what was that, 480 Wigglesworth house that they had on Mission Hill. That was a fun one. The 480 Mass Ave was a fun year. Do you remember the 480 Mass Ave?
Yeah, remember that one as well. Then
so I don't know.
The Darties as well, and
the Darties, Marathon Monday. Oh, every Marathon Monday I loved. There's a lot, but I'm trying to think of like what's the best one. The ones I remember though were the better when I was younger, because it's like, ooh, I'm underage, you know. But yeah, you knew when you were going out, it was going to be all the athletes were going to be hanging together, and that's like what I loved about Northeastern. Like you felt included, even like that social scene, you know. Like didn't matter if you're on the basketball team or if you were on the field hockey. Like anyone's welcome, you know. We're all sticking together and we're all gonna like hang out together.
Yeah,
we might have been separate like to start off, but at the end of the night we're all gonna be together at the end.
Yeah, there was never that, oh, you're in a different team than us, like you can't come here, or it was like, all right, come on in.
Yeah.
So obviously you're working on some projects now. You've had some experience coaching at UMass. How did that opportunity end up coming around?
Yes, UMass. So this past fall and spring, I was a volunteer assistant at UMass Amherst. How that came along, I knew last summer I wanted to go into coaching, but there wasn't really that many coaching jobs out there. So I was actually at a camp. I was working at camp, and I was just like talking to the other coaches there. UMass, one of the UMass coaches was there. There was like a bunch of schools, like UNH, like Holy Cross. There was just a bunch of schools, college coaches there. And they knew that I wanted to like go into coaching. I didn't have a job yet. So UMass, Sarah Mansfield, she was at the camp with me, and we were at lunch, and she got a phone call from Barb, who is the head coach at UMass, while we were at lunch. And she was just like, hey, like our volunteer isn't going to be this year. Like she ended up finding another job. Like we need to find a volunteer. So I remember she hung up the phone, and we were at lunch, and she's like, Kellie, you're looking to go to coaching, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'd love to become a D1, like second assistant or grad assistant or volunteer, like somewhere. And she was like, well, you need to call Barb, like the head coach. Like we just lost our volunteer. And I was like, oh my gosh, great. So I left the camp like a day later. I called Barb, and we had a discussion, and I told her what I was looking for. Time was kind of running out because preseason was going to be happening in about a month. So I was kind of like, ooh, like I don't know what I'm going to do. Like I want to coach, but where can I go? So I was in contact with a few coaches, and some of them didn't work out, and UMass luckily did, and I'm so happy. So that I was working at camp, and I met one of the coaches there, and it's field hockey is such a small world, so everyone knows each other, and I think that helped me working that camp. And
being given that opportunity.
So then I ended up working there. I went there last August, and I spent the entire preseason, fall season with them, and then I went home back to Canton during the winter break, and then I went back with them during the spring season. But then obviously COVID hit, so then I came back. And then, so that's how I'm at UMass.
So obviously you're offering your own personalised training for aspiring field hockey players just now. Be Well with Coach Kellie, that everyone can follow on Instagram. How did you come up with that idea?
So I honestly started it in May. So I started this Instagram account after college, and it was called NARP Life by Kellie. And I posted, like, I was like, oh, I'll just, like, show my, like, NARP life, like, the non-athletic regular people. I'm going to, like, create an Instagram for that. And I didn't really post on it. I think I posted it, like, a few times. Like, a few times I'd go to Dedham and hit around at our field in Dedham, or a few times I'd post, like, a workout. And I was, like, not really. And then I got busy with UMass, so I didn't really post much on that. And then like May, I was so bored at home with COVID, and I was doing a lot of field hockey just like in my backyard. I was bored, so I was like, wait, why don't I just take videos and change NARP Life by Kellie by like have it as a coaching Instagram. So while these kids are at home, like the younger players, they can see me playing, and maybe they can do the same. So I started creating videos. So I changed my Instagram to Be Well with Coach Kellie. It rhymed. I don't even know why I did it. I think I was just like, Be Well with Kellie. And then I was like, Coach Kellie. And no one really calls me Coach Kellie. It's either Kellie or Stigas, like my last name. A lot of people call me by my last name. But it just rhymed and it stuck. So I was like, ooh, I like that. So I started beginning of quarantine, just going out in my backyard and just like making videos. So I was just like putting my phone on a bucket and then uploading them to Instagram. And I wanted like the UMass girls that I was still working with to like see that if I can do it, you can do it. Like you can be training at home. Like this is the perfect time to be like upping your game and like being a better field hockey player, like don't just take this time and just sit back and say, oh, I wish I could have done this. Like, no, go out and get it. Go out and do it. I'm all about like, no, you make the best of your opportunity and make it a good one. So I created the videos, then I bought a tripod, and then I was like getting a good amount of followers. So I was like, you know what? Maybe this can be like me showcasing my coaching ability, like this can be now a resume. So now when I apply for jobs, I'm like, check out Be With Coach Kellie, and like, you can like see. So then what else? Oh, so then I was at UMass, but I have left this summer. So I'm no longer right now with UMass so it all started with making this Instagram, and then people were DMing me being like, seeing the videos, and they're like, do you do virtual Zooms? Like, can I do a virtual Zoom with you? And I was like, unfortunately, I can't, because I'm working with UMass and there's so many rules, and you can't work with we were on a freeze with not being able to coach prospective student athletes at UMass and all of Division I. So I was like, oh, unfortunately, I can't do that, blah, blah, blah. So then Boston Field Hockey, a club team that I worked for in Boston when I was in college, they reached out to me and they were like, hey, do you want to help with our Zoom? Like, we're doing virtual Zoom lessons. And I was like, I can't. And just more and more as I was posting on this Instagram, more people are reaching out to me asking for private lessons. So come June 1st, I was like, I'm only a volunteer at UMass, and that's
Yeah,
great.
you're
And
losing out there.
I'm losing out, and I loved my experience at UMass, but I just like had this conversation with the head coach, and I was like, hey, like, is there a way I could like release my name from UMass and do this? So she was like, yeah, you can release your name. We'll take you off the website. You're no longer with us. The opportunity is there. If I want to go back in the fall, then I can just, re-sign papers and stop doing the lessons.
Yeah.
But right now, I just thought this was an opportunity to like make some money, work with prospective student athletes that are trying to, get recruited. Yeah, and it's been great. Like, I've had so much interest, so many people. Like, I just came off the field doing 3 lessons today. It's great. Like, I'm falling in love with coaching again. So the beginning of COVID, I just was like, oh my, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like, maybe I should find a new career because COVID's not going to help with this. Like, they might be cutting programs. Now they are cutting programs, but my Instagram with Be Well with Coach Kel has like, I know I'm talking so much, I'm sorry, but
no, keep going.
Definitely helped with like define my coaching career again. I was in this little lull during COVID and I have fallen in love with the game again. I'm so happy that I'm able to like share my experiences and show my knowledge and drills that I have and the skills on the Instagram. And it's great to see like girls inbox me and be like, I just did the drill, like here's my video, thanks so much. And it's awesome. And I now have the tripod and I'm setting up the tripods at session so I can like video the girls. So it's great. And I've also gotten reached out to a few like coaches, college coaches, being like, I saw your Instagram, it's so great, like keep up the good work. So it's good. I feel like I have this purpose again. I have solidified that coaching is what I want to do. Because for a little I was like, maybe it's not. Like, I don't know. Can I make money? Can I make this a career? But I'm not giving up. I don't care if COVID struck. I'm gonna keep fighting and I'm gonna keep pushing because this is what I want to do. And I'm so happy doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's great content as well that you're producing, and obviously you're making a difference with the younger generation and being able to pass on your fresh ideas like of what field hockey should look like moving forward. What would you say are your goals moving forward then?
My goal moving forward is to find a Division I coaching job. I would love, that's my number one goal. And I think my another goal is to keep just spreading the passion I have for the sport, showing others like my experience, telling my experience that I had at Northeastern and how you can do it. Anybody can play Division I if you put your mind to it and you put in the work. And then 3, my end goal, my goal that I'm going to reach one day is to end back up at Northeastern and I'm going to coach field hockey at Northeastern. That's my end goal.
Yeah, that's a really good one as well because like you've been there as a player, you want to go back, leave your impact as a coach as well, and you know the ins and outs of how things work there. So that's a big part of it. Like it makes things. Yeah. You develop a passion for it. You're like, oh, I could change this and fix that. And
I have so much like. I love Northeastern, so that's where I want to be, end of the day. Like, I know I'm going to have to do small steps to get there. I'm going to have to be a volunteer. I'm going to have to, maybe take a GA position or somewhere. Like, there's little steps that it's going to take to get there and to create my career path. And I'm willing to do it to like have that end goal. But hey, you never know. Like, I could end up somewhere else and fall in love with another school and change it. But right now, that's where I want to be.
So that's been great, Kelly. Thanks for taking the time today. It's been great hearing your journey so far and obviously the exciting things and the goals you've got moving forward. But before we go, what's some advice you could offer out there to future and even current student athletes that are still competing or thinking about committing to a college to play sports?
Yeah, I would say, right now it sucks because of Corona, what's going on, but like keep playing. Keep practicing because we don't know what's going to happen today. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And if you love the sport, like keep playing, I would just say like, you don't know what's going to happen. And you saw that like so many people got their senior, like spring season stripped from them. And right now some people have gotten their fall season stripped. So never take for granted any training, any opportunity you can have to have that stick in your hand and just keep pushing. If you love the sport, keep pushing. keep playing, and you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, so never take any training for granted.
Yeah, that's some great advice there, and like you can see the passion you have for it and the ability for the people to continue as well. So hopefully people can take that on board and keep fighting until this finishes.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Thanks again, Kelly.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. Make
No
sure you
problem.
guys all follow my Instagram.